Thank you for joining us today and talking about eco-anxiety for Florida Climate Week. It's no mystery, especially us here in South Florida that face many crises simultaneously, that we've got a lot that we're working through. It toils on our mental health on the day to day. And so I thank you, Scarlett and Diana, for having this conversation today. As defined, eco anxiety by the APA, American Psychological Association, is that it is the chronic fear of environmental crisis that comes from observing the seemingly irrevocable impact of climate change and the associated concern for one's future and that of the next generations. I think this is more than applicable to what we're facing right now, specifically as Miamians. I think we face this, we see this every day. So, to start, what did you find out in conversations with youth regarding eco anxiety?
Want to take that or should I?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris, for hosting us. This conversation is about eco-anxiety and how it's impacting the lives of many people, but in particular, young people. So the climate crisis is here. There's no denial. It's affecting every single city and country around the world, whether it's drought, whether it's floods, whether it's harsher storms and hurricanes. But the work that we do at Accountable Impact, which is the organization I lead, is to advance the Sustainable Development Goals. One of the SDGs that we're focusing on, the SDGs are the Sustainable Development Goals, is SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, and 13, which is climate action. And in our conversations with young people, they have expressed, anxiety, a lot of anxiety of what's going to happen in the future with the climate crisis, if they're going to be able to have, a livable environment, clean water, clean air, which is vital for survival. So those are the things that we're trying to help young people and others, it's not just young people, on how to cope with this anxiety and this stress that the climate crisis is provoking, and also the lack of action from, our leaders in both in government and the private sector. So they're facing a lot of stress, anxiety, and even depression. And I'm happy to be having this conversation today with you and Diana to tell you the audience what we're doing or how we're helping young people to cope with this anxiety, eco anxiety.
I'm going to come back to the partnership and to the action because I won't go on a rant today, but we've got to hit upon that. But recently, we've seen South Florida have the highest or longest streak of triple-digit heat. It's been the hot. I've lived here 4 years. I don't think I've ever seen it as hot or felt it as hot here. Melting humidity. We've had floods. We saw what happened to Fort Lauderdale not too long ago, earlier in the summer, with the flooding of the airport and streets. Are young people showing symptoms of eco anxiety, and what could be the implication of the rise of eco anxiety living in these conditions?
Well, it's sad what I'm about to tell you, but just in Homestead, which is a community that it's a farm worker community where we've done some work. In June, I believe, a farm worker as young as 26 died from the heat, from a heat stroke. So it doesn't get more real than that, right? And obviously, this is a young person, and the community is a very close community, and it's impacting the young people that live in that community. So yes, they're seeing it not like yes, there's not going to be more trees, there's not going to be clean air. It's actually they saw someone pass from work in the field from this heat wave that we had between June and July, which like I said is triple digits, right? And we haven't seen it. I've lived most of my life in Miami, and we haven't seen those heat waves that temperatures so high for so long. That's the other thing. It's not that it's just one day. It's like weeks of continued high temperatures.
We're seeing corals die off. We're seeing water that's 100 degrees, not even relaxing to go in. So it doesn't take one or two people. It takes a lot of people. It takes partnership and it takes action. So what do you think, Diana, is really needed in order for us to advance any progress?
Well, I'm the founder of Gives You Foundation, and I'm part of the movement of Giving Tuesday. I'm the leader of Giving Tuesday Colombia, and in there we have a program with youth I think that you have to take action, and I know right now a lot of the generations are more mindful of what's happening around them, and we're being seen a lot of 13 years old, 6 years old taking action in our movement. So we have Giving Tuesdays Park, and in there we have Sammy. She is a young girl. She's 13, and she was a little anxious of because she cannot find friends, but also about the environment. So she did like a bench of recycling materials and create this in her school. So I thought it was amazing because she thought about the environment, but also to create this bench to make, anyone that was feeling alone, we're going to the bench. And anyone that will see that person or that kid or that youth in there, they will go next to it and, make a conversation. So I think that's what our youth have to do. It takes small actions. Sometimes it's not like a big or huge thing to do. Just something like that, like Sammy did, and other kids that we have in our movement.
It's all the little things, and it's amazing and admirable to see youth really stepping up. They are the future of our planet, so it's important for them to be showing the change that some of our previous generations have unfortunately not shown and gotten us to where we are today. But turning to a more personal point of view, what was the situation that made you think that this was a problem that needed to be spotlighted and addressed?
Um, well, right now in Florida, we'll see more hurricanes. We see, the heat is, you cannot stand it right now. The humidity, and we see that the water is rising too. There is different statistics that are showing that, and it's something that we have to be aware. And it's not that we don't have time. That's I think the the message that I want to say today is that we don't have time, and that's why we have the SDGs, that we can create these different programs and actions to really focus on what we have to do, and really start making changes. Because right now, the next day you can see the water under us,
Right.
and how we're gonna change it.
Scarlett, you just got back from UNGA, so what would you take from that event as a message for Florida, for
Thank you
Miami?
for that question. I love it. So UNGA is the United Nations General Assembly. This also was this week was the SDG Summit, which is the marks a halftime of the entire 2030 agenda that goes from 2015 to 2030. But the big, I guess, takeaway that I got from the UNGA, young people, are acting up. Like they're taking action on the climate crisis. They're doing it through many different ways, whether it's activism, whether they're advocating at the policy level, whether they're making, like a recycled material bench in their schools. But one thing that resonated with me with the example that you just said is how crucial it is to have, good mental health and good or healthy coping mechanisms to be able to take action. I wonder if Rudy, the girl that you mentioned,
Sammy.
sorry,
Mhm.
if she had been in a depression or anxiety, if she would have been able to do what she did.
Yes.
And that's why we're doing what we're doing here today, which you're going to see in a couple of minutes, how young people and not so young people, such as myself, can have the tools and the means to cope with the different stresses and problems that life presents, which is way more difficult to deal with if you have on your mind the climate crisis and how you're going to survive and how, if Miami, for example, because we're in Miami, this is Florida Climate Week, if Miami is going to be here 10, 20, 30 years from now, if it's going to be livable, if it's not going to be underwater. So we want to make sure that through this conversation and the session that we're going to have in a minute, young people and others can have the tools to have meditation, mindfulness practices on a daily basis. And yeah, so that's what I got from UNDA and also from Florida Climate.
Yeah, and adding to what Scarlett was saying, also there is a statistic that show that when you are generous, when you are acting, you are more happy. So when you give back, you feel you are doing something for anyone or for the world. So I think that's what the young generations are feeling, and they're more active. Like I don't know, like 50 years ago, you can see that they care about the community, about if the trees are there, if the animals are good, and I see it in our leaders with Giving Tuesday. The young leaders in Colombia, for example, they get together to plant trees. And they found a way to find the money. Like they partner with another one that they bake cookies and sell them and find the money to get those plants or feed the animals that are part of our system too. So I think those are the little things that we have to do to really make an impact, and no matter what age you are. You can be 3 years old, you can be 30 or older, that you have the change in your hands.
To close this out, any last call to action?
Call to action. I want to make it at the high level. You can make it at the personal level, community. So the World Health Organization is aware that eco anxiety it's a crisis now. It's involved with the climate crisis. So the World Health Organization is asking countries and cities now to include mental health components into their climate adaptation and environmental plans at the policy level. So that level and the policy level.
Well, I want to invite any youth that they want to be part of our program, Giving Tuesdays Park, because in there you can be with other young people like you that want to make action, that they want to change the world, and sometimes we do summits for them, and they can get ideas. And we have different tools in there, documents that show how they can do a campaign. For example, right now, Giving Tuesday is November 28th, so they can join with a campaign. So I assure you that you can do something for the day and really show something for our planet, and maybe do something like Sammy did in her school.
Thank you for those
Welcome,
words.
everyone.
Thank
Today
you.
we're going to be doing a very special activity related to meditation, mindfulness, and sound therapy. This is
Now we are going to do and think about a little intention, about your intention. What is your intention today?
Sí, es que es demasiado. Es demasiado, no sé si. Yo sé, creo que es superior, porque sí, es superior. Sí, es superior. Sí, celebro mucho. Y lo veo, sí. Bueno, sí, lo veo. Cada rato hablamos un ratito y todo. Pero no la escuela, o sea, la universidad. Me encanta. Quiero, ¿verdad? Trabajar en mi proyecto inicial, que era socioeconomic.
shoulders. If you're ready, you cut it down.
Therapy and eco-anxiety session.
I feel like a brand new man, more relaxed, more energetic, more energy coming through. I feel so great. I feel so peace.
Okay, thank you.
That's wonderful. That's thanks to Will.
Appreciate everything you've done.
We're so
Thank
happy
you.
and blessed that you're
I'm
here
so
and
happy
grateful.
and appreciated to be here with you. And I hope to see you soon. Thanks, God, for the invitation.
Thank you, Will. I know that this session is going to transform the lives of young people so that they can cope with eco-anxiety and have tools and mechanisms to, to be more mindful and peaceful. Thank you.